Purdue survives against Gonzaga. It kind of feels crazy to say survives in a game they end up winning by double digits, but they were down 5 points at halftime, and this was a dicey little game. Pretty much all of the game. They created some big-time separation at the end, some timely shots, particularly from Sir Miles Colvin with 2 big threes to keep that separation at the end. Lance Jones had the huge sequence early in the second half that really swung the game. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about an all-time reverse jinx from me with Lance Jones as well. Zach Edey, 25 and 14 tonight. Braden Smith was pretty stellar, 13, 6 and 4, 6 for 8 from the floor. He didn't miss a shot in the first half. And man, Purdue looks good. I don't think this was Purdue's A game. And here they are with a 10-point win against a top 11 team in the country. What'd you make of this?
Yeah, I truly think I was impressed by Purdue's resilience in this game. I think resilience is the word I would use because they did not bring their A game. And granted, I don't know if Gonzaga, outside of that hot shooting to start, necessarily even played their best game. I got some thoughts on Gonzaga as a team as a whole, but just speaking on Purdue, the fact that they were able to get this win with only getting their A game from Braden Smith, I think is pretty something they could put a feather in their cap about because Zach Edey had his 25 and 14, but I think he missed a ton of shots that he normally makes. Fletcher Lawyer once again just gave absolutely nothing to the Purdue Boilermakers today. TKR didn't as well, so it's good to see that they're able to get a win against a good team when Zach Edey's not on his complete A game. And you can get a really good game from Braden Smith in this case. And also, Braden Smith had 5 steals as well, G. So that's 13 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, 5 steals, 6 for 8 from the floor. Everyone's seen the Kim Kardashian tweet where it's like he's here and he's perfect. That's kind of how I feel about Braden Smith. He is here and he's perfect. And I'm glad everybody else can see it too.
Yeah, we sort of speculated before this tournament, right, that this was going to be the Braden Smith breakout. That's what we wanted to see. Fanta picked him as the MVP of this tournament. We did our whole predictions thing. We're like, this is Braden Smith's time. If it gets to Purdue Marquette, it's Braden Smith's going to emerge. And I still feel that way. I thought he was very good. Just speaking from like a who do I like watching standpoint, Braden Smith might be my favorite player in the country. I absolutely love this kid. I think I'm so excited to see what he looks like 2 years from now. I think he's going to terrorize the entire country, let alone the Big Ten. And he's so good at playing with Zach Edey. I think he makes life infinitely easier on Zach Edey. And I just am excited because it's going to be a totally different task when Zach Edey's gone for him, but a task that I know he's up for. And I honestly, when thinking about this Purdue program, man, you go back to that team with Jaden Ivey. If you replace Jaden Ivey with Braden Smith, I think that team wins a national championship. I just want to say that. I want to get that on.
Who's on the wings of those teams? Was it Stefanovic and
who
else?
Yeah, they had all the shooting. They had Travion. They had Edey. Some of the guys that are still around now that are upperclassmen were underclassmen on that team. But I don't know. Like, to me, Ivy was clunky with those guys. To me, like, how much better would Braden Smith have made Travion Williams? So much better. Like, it would have been really fun to watch. And I'm glad he's starting to get some of the credit that he deserves. You talked about Edey. You said you didn't think this was his best game. I wholeheartedly agree with you. He missed 50% of his shots in this game. This was also a game that Gonzaga chose to single cover him with smaller bigs. I mean, Graham Ike spent time on him. Braden Huff spent time on him. Neither of those guys can guard Zach Edey one-on-one, yet he shot 50% from the floor, missed 8 shots from the floor in this game. We're now 4 games into the real season, but we've also seen some like scrimmage exhibition stuff with Edey. It seems like he's just missing more point blank shots this year than he did last year. You are our big man expert here. What's going on with that?
I also don't think he's getting as many point blank looks as he was getting last year. Actually, I think a lot of his misses that have happened so far this year, he's very good at that hook shot, no matter where it's from. But obviously, if he's closer to the basket, his hook's going to be a little bit better. I think he was kind of floating towards he was way too close to the free throw line when he was shooting his hooks instead of being close to the rim in the shooting circle. So it kind of seemed like he fell into the trap of floating a little bit on his hook shot going to the middle. And it also seemed like he had a very reluctancy to go left. I think the defenders were asking him to drop step and use his left hand, and he was reluctant to do so. So, I think we know that Zach Edey's going to make those shots. I truly believe he is going to make those shots, but you can't ignore the fact that with the exhibitions and this game, it has seemed to be an issue that Zach Edey misses shots that he normally makes. And he's still getting his numbers, but he has been less efficient than he normally is.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to get a little concerned, is all I'll say. Obviously not concerned. This is like a bad Zach Edey game. He had 25 and 14. He was dominant. He's the largest reason by far that Purdue won this game. And I said it in our Discord, it's such a luxury for Purdue that, like, when you have to play Purdue, you have to account for Zach Edey every single possession. He doesn't go away. Like, his endurance is that good. He is a force of nature the entire 35 minutes that he's on the court, or in this game, 33 minutes. And that means, like, even if you're Gonzaga and you feel like you did a great job on Purdue in the first half defensively, you're ecstatic as you go into the locker room. You come out of that locker room, very first play, Zach Edey's getting a post touch. There's 20 more minutes of this. It's going to go back to it and back to it and back to it. And you better have answers for that. You better be able to withstand it. And I don't think there's many front courts in the country that can. Certainly Gonzaga's can't. Quickly on the foul stuff, this was definitely like a Zach Edey foul game. Again, this is a constant narrative with the way he plays. He got to the line a ton tonight. In the first half, I thought they were all fouls. I don't think there was one that was a questionable foul. But I thought in the first half, Edey's entire performance was, I got to the foul line. Then in the second half, there was more that he was able to do on the floor that was not just, I got to the foul line. Are you already tired of the foul conversation? Was he getting hacked tonight? What'd you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, he was getting hammered, but it's I hate the complaining about it because it is what it is. And especially is what it is with just big men in general. It is so hard for referees to handle big men just because, especially physical ones, because there's so much contact that's initiated by both parties, both defensively and offensively. So I get that it's hard. And in general, big men don't get the benefit of the doubt. So massive human beings like Zach Edey always aren't going to get the benefit of the doubt. He does get fouled a lot. I think that they rightly call a good amount of those fouls. I don't think it should be a talking point or a complaining that Zach Edey should get a foul every single time. There's a lot of fouls that are missed by a lot of players in the country. So I think it is what it is. Referees have to ref him a different way, and that's okay. It's not a cheat code or an advantage to Zach Edey. It just is what it is, that he basically gets fouled every time he touches the ball. But I don't know. I think he gets his free throws and he gets to the line. I think it's more so demoralizing as a team that's playing Purdue, that the one way you should be able to stop a big man like Zach Edey is foul him, but all he does is proceed to go to the free throw line and shoot 80%.
Yeah. Yes. It reminds me of, like, when you play pickup basketball and you, like, play consistently at a spot, you start to, like, recognize the people that show up to the runs once or twice a week. It's like, oh, there's that guy, and everybody gets a reputation. You know the people, right? It reminds me, watching anybody who just doesn't have a big center, like, unless you have Donovan Clingan or something, or Calc, anyone who just doesn't have an answer for Zach Edey, it reminds me of watching, like, the old washed up guy at the open gym runs who just knows he can't guard anybody, but he's not going to give you anything free. Like, It's like when I play you one-on-one, like, if I'm not fully mentally in it, then fine, like, take your shots, whatever. If I'm fully mentally in it, like, we're playing for something that matters, I can't guard you, but I will be damned if you're getting something free. Like, I will just wrap you up and we will check up at the top. And I feel like that was Gonzaga's plan in this game. It was like, we know we can't guard this guy. We're going to guard him one-on-one. And we're going to use our 5 fouls with every single big man that we have in our front court. That's what happened tonight. And to an extent, it worked. Like, we've seen Tom Izzo pull this trick with Hunter Dickinson in the past, right? Where he's like, we're going to make Hunter beat us, and we're going to foul the crap out of him with our 3 centers. And for a lot of guys, that is a tough task to actually endure that and overcome it and win it. And ultimately, I think Zach Edey did that. It's not going to be the best Zach Edey performance of the year, but I think you can look directly at him and be like, he survived this. He got through it. He made the foul shots, and then he finished with a really productive 25 and 14. It's why he was the national player last year, national player of the year last year. It's why he is the favorite this year. Let's jump to the conversation everybody's going to click into this video for, and let me make sure I get my camera clean on this one. we'll jump to the conversation everybody is here for. Lance Jones, you and I have made it abundantly clear that we are not the biggest fans of Lance Jones in the role that Matt Painter is playing him in. I feel like that is the element of this that gets lost when people call us Lance Jones haters. We don't dislike Lance Jones's game. I think I'm speaking for both of us on this. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but I do not dislike Lance Jones's game. If Lance Jones was Purdue's backup point guard, I would think he's perfect. He was the perfect get this offseason. If they're trying to play Lance Jones alongside Trey Kaufman-Renn and Fletcher Lawyer with Braden Smith and Zach Edey, and part of this is about who Fletcher Lawyer and Kaufman-Renn are right now, but I just don't like it. I think you need a dead-eye shooter at the three who can spot shoot, catch and shoot, and make shots. Lance Jones tonight was 1 for 6 from three. They talk about how good he is defensively. I thought Ryan Nembhard was busting his butt the entire first half. I thought Lance Jones fell asleep on a backdoor cut in the first half. Now, give him a ton of credit because I called it out at halftime. I said, I'm waiting to see that impact everyone keeps telling me about. Lance Jones came right out of the halftime locker room, immediately had about 4 different impact plays. He had a nice layup finish. He forced a steal. He got out in transition, had another nice layup finish. He hit a 3 off a beautiful pass from Braden Smith right after that. The guy showed up and he swung the game. They went from down 5 at halftime to instantly it was a tie game, right back to it. And to me, if you're stating why that happened, as good as Edey was and as good as Smith was, Lance Jones is the first thing on the list of why the game turned. Do you agree with everything I just said? Because you've been in the Discord still holding strong that you're not buying this with Jones even after tonight.
No, this is what I'm not buying. Purdue wants to take the next step as a team, right? They want to go far in the tournament. They have Final Four aspirations. Am I right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A team with Lance Jones being their third best player is not going to a Final Four in this day and age. I'm letting that be known right now. It's just not going to get it done. The high regard that we held Purdue in throughout the season and throughout the offseason was that guys were taking jumps, especially like the freshmen, the sophomores taking jumps, or the younger guys, the older guys making jumps. Braden Smith made that jump. That's amazing. I think we knew that was going to happen. Fletcher Lawyer not only hasn't made a jump, I think he might have got worse. TKR has not made a jump. You could also make an argument he might have got worse.
No, you can't. I'm sorry. I'm cutting you off. You can't make an argument TKR got worse. He got better. He just doesn't fit with Edey at all.
Okay, and that's what brings me to my next point. Just because you are a great coach does not mean you are or untouchable as far as being questioned. Is Matt Painter really actually doing everything he should and pulling the right strings with this team? Because I don't think that he is, because I think that Lance Jones, if you're going to play him and want to play him as a starter, Fletcher Lawyer shouldn't be a starter. TKR, for him to be the best player he should be, he should not be starting. He should be the backup 5. I think Lance Jones should be the backup guard. Like, it's just, I don't think that certain players are being accentuated or put in the best position to show like what their best talents are. And I don't know if that turn is going to happen necessarily, because I feel like Coach Painter might feel like he owes some of these guys some things, but which is, I commend him for doing that. He's loyal to his guys and wants to reward them for maybe sticking around or things like that. But Trey Kaufman-Renn is just not a 4 that you can play with Zach Edey. And I don't know if you can continue to play Lawyer 24 minutes if he's going to give you 0 for 6 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3-point range, 1 and 2 points, and a couple turnovers. It's just like, you can't do that. He's out, and you can't do that with him playing 24 minutes. So I don't know. I think that there's something there with this Purdue team as far as making some adjustments, but I will stand firm on the fact that you're not winning anything or any titles with Lance Jones being your third best player.
I was wondering how you were going to tie that all back to Jones, because you went to like the broad conversation I wanted to end the segment with, which is what is Painter doing? And I thought you were dodging the Lance Jones question, but then you came back to it and put a bow on it and just said Jones can't.
Because like, this is the thing. Like, Lance Jones changed the game in the second half for those 4 possessions. He was buns the rest of the game and got his ass bust, and he was still 1 for 6 from 3, 6 for 14 from the field, and he had 13 points. Let's not go around acting like this dude just put up some crazy ass stat line. It goes back to the point that I originally said. Lance Jones has the best job in college basketball. He has the best job in college basketball because if he shows up and tries, he will be beloved throughout Boilermaker Nation. That's all he has to do.
So, yeah, I mean, look, I was fighting with Craig Bowers, the lovely Craig Bowers, who I hope is on the beach with a Mai Tai right now, right? Like, he's in Hawaii. He's doing great coverage for Boilers in the stands. We love these guys. But I'm fighting to the death in our Discord with Craig Bowers because, like, I literally feel this way. I think Miles Colvin showed more in the final 4 minutes of this game that Purdue's starting group actually needs than Jones has shown all season. And I know Purdue fans are going to disagree with that. But look, it is so critical. While this team is built around Zach Edey, it is so critical that you just surround him with the right roster build of guys who are going to win. And I know you guys are tormented by the loss in the tournament and how that happened, and you didn't have enough ball handlers. That's an indictment on Fletcher Lawyer more than anything. That's not an indictment on who should be playing the 3 next to Fletcher Lawyer. And Fletcher Lawyer still got worse. So if Lance Jones needs to be in the starting lineup for this team, to me, it should happen at the 2. And I don't think you should bench Fletcher because they just need to get better out of Fletcher right now. But yeah, it's like this narrative has flipped into Lance Jones is incredible and he's exactly what this team needs. He's shooting hold on, I want to make sure I get this right. He's shooting 5 for 19 from 3 on the season.
Oh, Greg, no, I got percentages for you. He's shooting 40% from the field, he's shooting 30% from 3, and he's shooting 60% from the line.
He's shooting worse than 30% from 3. He's 5 for 19. He's one missed 3, his next 3-point attempt away from being a 20% 3-point shooter. This is after he finished last season shooting 28% from 3 on 7.5 attempts a game. Like, and I get it. He's not a spot shooter, and he's a good defender sometimes. He was a good defender for half the game tonight. He was a horrible defender for half the game. So yes, we will come on here every time and give him credit. And I said that's what I would do. And I think I opened the 7 by doing that. Lance Jones swung this game. He was a critical part of that. If they can get Lance Jones to do what he did the first 8 minutes of the second half in this game and do it for 30 minutes a game, then yeah, they got their player. They got their guy. He hasn't done that in the start to the season overall. He had a really good 4-minute stretch. It swung the game today. He was a part of why they were trailing at half, though. Like, Lance Jones was a total non-factor in the first half, and they were trailing a Gonzaga team that couldn't buy a 3.
A guy that comes in and changes the game and swings the game. What does that sound like? A player that comes off the bench. Comes off the bench and changes the game. Because he had to change the game, because he was part of the problem why the game was in hell in the first place. Yeah. Because every single guard looked across from themselves and saw the 55 in black and saw barbecue chicken. He was getting cooked, like straight up. But yes, that 4 minutes in the second half swung the game. Credit to him for doing that. Let's not act like he just did something crazy out of this world. This is the Lance Jones game. We did it. We got our guy type thing. That's some crazy ass victory lapping.
I'm starting to get it, though. I'm starting to get it. I've said all along, the reason Purdue fans are so high on Lance Jones, and we are not, is because from a Purdue fan's perspective, he just does things different. Like, if Lance Jones was a catch-and-shoot, scrawny little 165-pound Carmel High School Indiana white boy, then everyone would just not – they would write him off and be like, oh, another one on the bench. But Lance Jones is this athlete who can shoot off the dribble and has – speed and quickness and athleticism and toughness. He's chirping, right? When's the last time you saw someone in a Purdue uniform chirp? Braden Smith will get there a little bit. He's starting to show a little more of that. A couple years ago, Carson Edwards did all the time. You loved that, right? That's what like Purdue fans are just like, whoa, we got this thing that's new and different. New and different doesn't necessarily mean that's what you need. And I was trying to come up with a comparison because you're right. Lance Jones is a better shot creator, secondary handler, defender than everybody else in this roster. Just because he's better than the other guys in the roster who are unplayable right now does not mean he's what you need. Like, I'm going to my team. I do this all the time, but I'm going to my team cart. Namari Burnett, would be perfect in this role for what Purdue needs. That just a smart player who is a great catch and shoot guy who's shooting the piss out of the ball this year, is an elite defender, is an IQ guy. Like, that's what you need. You don't need a guy who, in a tie game, after you just clawed your way back, after being down the whole first half, and you just had the individual run to tie the game, takes a shot with 28 seconds on the shot clock off the dribble with a hand in his face and clanks it off the rim. Like, that shot at some point is going to kill this Purdue team in a game where they're playing a better team than Gonzaga that can sustain these runs that Purdue makes. Like, I don't get it. So we intended to come on here and praise Lance Jones, and now here we are, like, doubling down that we don't see it. But
he's three-man Carson Cooper to an extent.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm just saying, just like Carson Cooper does anything, every Michigan State fan eats it up because it's in comparison to what else is on the roster.
Lance Jones is a way better player than Carson Cooper, but I get what
way
you're
better. He might be a way better player, but it's the same concept. And I'm telling you, easiest job in college basketball. All he has to do is go out there and be aggressive.
I get what you're saying. I do think, in general, I think Purdue fans are downplaying how much you need shooting. Hey, like Craig Bowers and other Purdue guys, you need shooting. You shot 4 for 17 from 3 in this game. That's not going to win you games against good teams. And one of the big reasons why you can't make shots right now is because Fletcher Lawyer has regressed. How the hell has this kid regressed? He regressed from the guy that finished last season, not the guy in December who looked like a breakout guy. No, I'm talking the guy that had to be benched in the Big Ten tournament and was afraid of his own shadow in the NCAA tournament. This guy that we're seeing this year right now is worse than that guy in March. Who's to blame here, Cart? Because I'm just baffled with this.
The player. I just don't think Fletch got better.
And none of that has anything to do with Purdue's staff, their strength staff, their coaches. Like, how has this kid not gotten any better?
You could somehow blame them, but at the same time, like, players got to want it somewhat.
Okay. I'm going to speak like.
Do you want to know what, like, I truly think?
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately, Fletch has got a little bit of, like, complacency. I'll be okay. I'm going to play for Purdue in him. Like, I'm good. I went to, I'm an Indiana kid. I'm a Purdue kid. I had a great start to my freshman season. That'll keep me on this starting lineup. That'll keep me playing a lot because I'm Fletch. Like, I'm Fletch. It's Braden and Fletch. He thinks there is no Fletch without Braden. There's no Blade without Fletch. I'll be good. I'm gonna show up every day, and my name is gonna be on that starting lineup, and I know I'm gonna start.
Yeah.
Fletch. There might be a little bit of complacency involved in that.
I don't hate the psychology behind that. I won't speculate, but I feel safe saying this. I think it's abundantly clear. The kid did not get stronger at all. He didn't gain an ounce of muscle. He's worse off the dribble right now than he looked last season. Maybe that's because people have scouted him and now the jury is out on what Fletcher can and cannot do. But anytime he puts the ball on the floor, it's a turnover or a mistake waiting to happen. Nothing good happens when Fletcher Lawyer dribbles. The shots aren't going in right now. He's a total 0, if not a total minus defensively. So I don't know what you do with it. And to be completely honest with you, I am baffled because I liked Fletcher a lot midway through last season. I thought he was great. And more importantly, coming from a place that's going to sound pretentious and entitled here, there haven't been a lot of players that come through my program that just don't get better. And I'm kind of baffled looking at this happen with other like why is Fletcher Lawyer not better? Why is Connor Sejan not better? Why is Jaden Akins not better? Why is I'm looking around seeing all these dudes that are in year 2, 3, and 4 under coaches that have given them starting opportunities and bigger roles, and they're not getting better. And like every guy that's come through my program from freshman to sophomore year has become a superstar. I don't understand it. Like, and I'm not saying Fletch needs to go be a top 10 player in this conference, but like get better, get stronger, step in the gym and look like you gained 10 pounds. Like I don't understand why other programs are having this issue repeatedly with guys. It makes no sense to me.
There's some rebuttal here that I don't like. There's got to be someone on your program who hasn't gotten better.
But it's like the finger would be like Terrence Williams hasn't gotten better, but he just got a bunch better. So like,
well, I've shifted. I've shifted. If Yo-Yo doesn't get better, I'm starting a dialogue.
Okay. All right.
But the way things are trending, Yo-Yo is going to be special by year 4.
I truly don't get it, man. I don't get it. I think there's a lot of guys on a lot of these rosters, and you honestly look at Purdue's entire bench. Have anybody of them gotten better? Did Caleb First get better from last season? Did Mason Gillis get better ever? Did Ethan Morton get better ever?
I think Mason Gillis needs to play more.
I don't know that any of these guys have gotten better. It's strange to me. The one guy I will say, I think Kaufman-Renn did get better. He's just forced into a role that makes no sense. And my read on this, I said this on Twitter, but my read is that Painter is trying to reward Kaufman-Renn because he is the one guy on this team that's not Braden Smith or Zach Edey that took a leap this summer. That was abundantly clear when they played without Zach Edey overseas. Kaufman-Renn was awesome. He was a superstar. It was without Zach.
Are we starting to wonder if the overseas was false? Like, did they actually play anybody who was semi-good?
Oh, no, they didn't. No, they did not.
Because, like, we're on the overseas trip, like, GregWaddell looked special. Like, all these other – honestly, everyone looks special except for Miles Colvin, which is wild. and now none of those guys can even get off the bench, really.
Yeah, I don't know. Heidi had the great baseline cut for the oop. Colvin's jumper looks great. Say what you will about the rest of his game. His jumper looks great. And I'm telling you, I'm begging you, Purdue, you need shooting. You have Zach Edey. Don't spend this whole season trying to be something you're not because of one loss in the NCAA tournament. And that's how I feel Purdue's doing this right now.
You're Matt Painter. Who's your starting lineup next game? You get to pick. And this is throw everything out the window. You can change it if you want. Like, this is you get to pick your ideal starting 5 for this Purdue team. Who are you picking?
I think this was the lineup that was in at the end of the game that I love, that kind of secured it was like dicey between 8 to 10 and they kept hitting shots. The lineup for me is Smith, Colvin, First, Edey, and then you can pick between Lawyer and Jones. Honestly, like, to close games, I think I like Jones. To start games, I would probably still go with Fletch, see if he's hot or not that day. And if he's not, then okay, you're playing 10 minutes today and Jones is going to get the rest. But, like, to me, that's it. I don't think Jones and Lawyer should be on the floor together. I think one of those two should be at the 2 with Braden. I think you should play Colvin more. I think if you're not playing Colvin more, you should play Heidi more. I like what those guys give you at the 3 and let Ethan Morton back up the rest of it. And then to me, it's like I said, First is not a better player than TKR. First fits infinitely better with Zach Edey at the 4 than TKR does. So start First at the 4 like you did all of last season when you were the best team in the country, and let TKR be the bench center. Any second that Zach Edey's not on the floor, TKR's on the floor and it's his job to eat. He could probably get a double-double in 12 minutes if they just use him that way.
And you get Edey a break.
I don't get it, man. Like, why do they have TKR spacing the floor, shooting air ball wide open threes? Just to pat him on the back and say, good summer? Like, I don't get it. Paint didn't do this last year either. So, like, it's just odd to me, man. It's odd. But, hey, at the end of the day, we have all these concerns and tweaks and nitpicks. They shot 23% from 3 and just beat Gonzaga, the number 11 team in the country, by 10.
Yeah. Gonzaga also not that good.
Yeah, do you want to get your Gonzaga take off? We just spent the whole video talking Purdue. Sorry, Gonzaga fans.
Gonzaga just don't have guys.
Oh, come on.
I mean, they have Nemhard, and I think Nemhard's a guy. EK's a guy.
You're not giving Nolan Hickman a guy?
Nolan Hickman's not a guy yet.
I like Hickman. I just think he didn't shoot well tonight.
I like Hickman too. He's on the verge of it. I'm not willing to give him a guy.
I think Nemhard makes Hickman a lot better. I'll say that. I like Hickman when he's not trying to be point guard. When he's trying to score, he just missed shots tonight. I like Hickman.
Okay, here's my official statement. I think Gonzaga's good. I see why there was reluctancy to say Gonzaga is going to win the WCC over again.
I mean, they're also missing a guy that was going to start for him too.
Yeah, well, that's part of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
Braden Huff. Braden Huff looks all right.
Yeah, I mean they got some pieces for sure, but like also at the same time, it's just like I don't know. They just don't have enough guys for me.
Shot quality. Do you buy the whole shot quality formula?
Shot quality.
You don't even know shot quality?
I do, but like, what's the formula? I'm sorry.
They
Like,
just like at the end of every game, they have like what the score should have been based on how good the shots you got are.
oh, so I didn't see that.
Yeah. So like it comes out and says like obviously it's a make or miss game, but did you actually outplay the other team or not? And sometimes the team just misses open shots and the other team makes tough shots. Shot quality said Gonzaga should have won this game. I think it was Gonzaga by 3. So there is some like credence here to this was just an awful shooting night for Gonzaga. They shot 6 for 32 from 3. That's horrible.
But aren't they just gonna like was there a lot of guys who just miss who are gonna miss? Like I feel like Nolan Hickman's a guy who's kind of streaky from 3.
I mean, Ryan Nemhard was 1 for 9.
Yeah, like those guys aren't shooters. They don't have shooters.
Nemhard is.
Oh, you consider Nemhard a shooter?
I mean, better than 1 for 9.
Yeah, he's better than 1 for 9, but I'm just not saying he's not knocked down.
Shot 36% on 4 attempts last year.
Not knocked down in my eyes.
Good shooter. You expect him to go 3 for 9 minimum, and if he makes 2 more threes, it's a 4-point game at least. So, just saying, I am more in on Gonzaga after this game than I was coming into the game.
Really?
Yeah, I am. I thought they just shot horrible. I thought like the fact that they were up 5 single covering Zach Edey. It's a good formula for me. Like I didn't think this Gonzaga team could hang with depleted players against Purdue, and they hung for 35 minutes.
I guess I'll keep my eye on them, see if they hit some more shots. But I was not impressed.
Okay, I can't believe you just weren't impressed at all. Like they were up on Purdue at halftime. You're like, yeah, not good. Shania Twain doesn't impress.
Not really. I mean, they got Zach Edey misses, and that got them up 5 at half.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we got 2 more games of both these teams, so I'm excited. I'm sure we'll keep talking about them on this channel. Good stuff, everybody. Sleepers recaps, Carter Elliott, Greg Waddell. If you want to see more of our recaps, go to the Sleepers Media YouTube channel where we're recapping every big game this season.